fight. You got me feeling a fight. Like how could I not think of you?
You can cry and laugh in the same day. A huge fear I've experienced while learning how to feel my feelings, especially the tougher ones, is that they'll never end once I allow them to surface. This fear tends to come up right before I have a big emotion, so it's actually a pretty good indicator that there's a feeling I need to feel. I know this fear is trying to protect me from feeling hurt. It helped me survive in the past. Now, whenever this fear comes up, I gently remind myself, we can cry and laugh in the same day, in the same minute even. It's a soft way of letting this fear know that we won't experience a never-ending sadness by allowing ourselves to feel sad. It's a reminder that eases me through the fear and into a space that is accepting of what I'm feeling. So, if you're scared of big, bad feelings like me, maybe let that fear know that they won't stick around forever. And you'll probably even have a laugh soon after. This is something I wrote on an Instagram post May of last year. I was freshly separated from my husband at the time, and I was freshly going through my divorce. And I remember this moment. I was pet sitting at the time, and I was sitting out back outside, and it was a nice day. It was May. It's pretty. And hold on, I'm sorry. Let me adjust my laptop or it's going to bug me. Oh! It's going to bug me. Okay. But I was sitting out back on the patio, and I had taken a couple of pictures, and then I wrote that post, and I uploaded it. And I was going through a bunch of my old Instagram posts the other day, and I was just reading because I was like, how far have I come? I was thinking to myself, I was just like, how far really? How far have I come? Because sometimes it's hard when we're in our present day. We're going through the motions and we're just, doing our thing. Getting up, going to work, doing our routines. It's easy to feel like we haven't really moved at all. We haven't really made much progress. So I went back and I was looking on the past year or so, just to see, just to remind myself of the progress that I have made. Because I've been struggling. I did not feel like recording this podcast episode. Full transparency. I was laying in bed for quite some time, just scrolling through Facebook, scrolling through Instagram, making myself laugh, getting a little dopamine, if you know what I mean. And I had to force myself to get out of bed because I was like, it was a tough weekend. I'm tired. I could do this another time. It's okay if I skip a week. All these little things, these little excuses start going off in my brain of just it's okay if you don't do the thing, which it's true. It's okay if I don't do the thing. It would have been okay had I not sat down and recorded today. I could have done it another day. I could have done it next week. I could have skipped this week because the weekend did kick my ass. Yo, the weekend was fucking brutal. But I wanted to be here anyway. I saw this Instagram post. It was this video. There's this guy. I don't follow him. He just pops up a lot because I like his videos. But he records himself while he's jogging in the mornings, and he just says little pieces of wisdom. And one of his reels, he was talking about showing up for yourself, even in the toughest moments, even on the days that you don't feel like doing the things. Don't give up on yourself. Keep doing the thing, whatever that thing is. He was talking about staying fit, eating healthy, being there for yourself. And it's not just about those things. physically, like physical health, but that's what I thought of when I was laying there with these excuses popping off in my mind of just, you could do it tomorrow, you could do it next week, you're tired, you had a hard weekend, it's okay if you lay here, it's okay if you don't do the thing. And again, which is true. It would have been okay had I not done the thing. But I feel better, quote unquote. I do though. I'm sitting here laughing and talking about these things, and and that's the thing, is like, I know every single time I have these feelings of dread, this resistance, I know I'll feel better if I can push past that. But that kind of feels like the hardest part sometimes, right? We feel this swell of resistance, and that can hold us back very easily if we let it, because it does. It feels like this big thing. It feels like this monumental thing sometimes. It feels like this giant leap we have to make. But it's just it's really, if you break it down, it's just little steps you have to take to get over it. Which for me in this case is setting up my ring light and turning on my lights and setting up my microphone and plugging everything in and getting everything prepared and sitting down and deciding what I'm going to talk about. Those are the little steps, but it feels like such this big monumental thing sometimes, this big wall that in the past I've not been able to get past. And it's not just with my podcast. There are lots of things that feel that way. I've recently kind of been analyzing my life a bit and trying to understand where I feel these blocks the most. It seems difficult for me to stay consistent, which is one of the reasons why I love doing this podcast so much. It is the one thing I could say that I have really remained consistent at within the past year, which has been one of the toughest years of my life so far. It's like this podcast is something that has kept me grounded in at least some sense of consistency. So it's like, okay, if I can do this, if I can push myself past these hurdles, if I can push myself past this massive resistance when it comes to recording my podcast, I imagine I can do it with other things too. But anyway, yeah, I've been analyzing some things in my life. I've been talking to my bestie about these things of just like, I don't know, like maybe, I don't know, sometimes I think I'm depressed. Years ago, I was diagnosed with MDD, and I was taking antidepressants for, I think 2.5 years I took antidepressants, and then I crashed. I had a very low moment. I hit rock bottom, my rock bottom. I had relapsed back into self-harm, and I did not give a fuck about myself or my life, and I didn't care what was going to happen to me, and so many things were just personally going on, and everything was hurting. Everything hurt so much. And that's when I stopped taking my antidepressants. But I'd been taking them for 2.5 years up until that moment where I just felt like this isn't working anymore. I don't know what to do anymore. And I crashed. And I've been thinking about that, talking with my bestie about some things. Just like, I don't know. Because like, this is the first time in my life that I've really experienced intense anxiety. And sometimes I've thought about maybe I need medication for it. I mean, the reason why I started taking antidepressants in the first place was just I got to a place with myself where I felt like I really needed it. I felt like I just didn't know what else to do. And I didn't grow up in a household where we talked about mental health or where medication was even kind of an option. It was like, just pray. Just pray and God will be there for you and God will help you. God will get you through all your stuff. And yeah. So I've been thinking about areas of resistance in my life and why it exists. Sometimes I think I just think too much about it all. I'm a deep thinker, if you haven't figured that out by now. But sometimes I do. Sometimes I think about it a little too much, and I think, like, there's so much I need to be doing. And if I don't start doing it now, I'm going to fuck myself later. Like, if I don't get on top of things physically, if I don't start eating better, it's like I'm almost 30. If I don't start doing these things for myself now, I'm really going to pay for it later. And I think about my bad habits and I'm just like, God, if I keep continuing these bad habits for another 5-10 years, like, I don't know what the consequences of these habits are going to be. And I don't want to find out. And I'm trying to reach this. I'm trying to be as healthy as possible for as long as possible because I do want to live a long life as healthily as I can, or a healthy life as long as I can. That makes more sense. But sometimes I do. I feel like I think myself into a hole that I can't get out of. And I've been struggling personally. I started going to a divorce support group. I went to my first meeting week before last, I'm sorry. And I intend on going back because I've been dealing with a lot of grief. Some days I wake up and I'm consumed. Some days I wake up and I'm just seemingly unbearably sad, but I get out of bed anyway and somehow function and make it to work, and I somehow act like a normal person and end up having a good day most of the time. It's just funny to think about that we can wake up feeling one way, so completely one way, and then as we go about the motions and we do our things, we take care of what needs to be taken care of, things just kind of, they get a little better sometimes. And sometimes we have a good day. That's what I like about this post that I made last May, about you can laugh and cry in the same day. It's just this little reminder for me of, like, even if it feels tough, it can also feel easy at the same time. It can be tough and it can be easy at the same time. It's a funny thing to think about. I know it seems really simple, of like, yeah, of course, we can be happy and sad in the span of a day. Of course we can. But when you're someone who feels things so intensely, sometimes it really feels like when you wake up with a certain feeling, especially sadness, grief, longing, you wake up with this seemingly, I say seemingly unbearable because it isn't unbearable. I'm bearing it and I'm getting through it every day. But it seems unbearable in the moment sometimes, doesn't it? When you wake up, sometimes I wake up and I just open my eyes and I'm like, God, how am I going to do this today? How am I going to show up? How am I possibly going to get out of this bed? How am I going to rise up out of this feeling when it feels like I'm drowning in it? How am I going to do that? And then, kind of like magic, I just do it. I do get out of bed. And I'm occupied with other things and other feelings, and I go to work and I say good morning to my coworkers. And they smile at me and say good morning. And I start doing my job. And I feel useful. And I feel important. And I feel like I'm doing something good. And I'm taking care of people. Even if it's customers coming to eat fast food or get ice cream. I'm taking care of people. And it's these little things that we don't really think about sometimes, these mundane routines, the everyday thing, the work, the chores, the tough things that we have to do, the responsibilities we have. For me, they're a blessing most days. And it doesn't mean I still don't have these feelings of dread of like, oh, I wish I didn't have to work today. I wish I didn't have to do these chores. I wish I didn't have these responsibilities. But truly, I'm grateful for them. Otherwise, I'd be consumed in something else. And some days I am consumed in something else. But yeah, I'm grateful for these other things that I have in my life that just seem they're so normal. They're such normal things. My job, it's such a normal thing. Going to work, everybody does that. We all have to work and make money. It's such a normal thing. Washing my dishes, so normal. It's just a normal basic chore. But yeah, without those things, I don't know. I don't really know what I'd do. So even if I have this feeling of dread towards these things in my life, it's funny because I have these feelings of dread towards just about everything that I do in my life. And that's why sometimes I'm like, am I depressed? Because I'm like, I don't really feel like doing anything ever at all. But it's like I said, once I push past that and I'm able to get past that wall and that resistance, just like this, I'm sitting here and I'm enjoying myself. But I had to get past this feeling of like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I still don't quite understand that. I don't understand. Why? Why does it exist? Hello, baby. I don't understand. Again, am I depressed? No. I don't think I'm depressed. I think I'm hurting. And as always, the bedside table. Welcome back, by the way. I know I'm 20 minutes into this, but welcome back. I said the name of the podcast and I was like, oh, shit. Welcome back. Welcome back to the bedside table. Episode 34. I'm your host, Ellie Marie. But as always, this is a space of vulnerability for me. And I do try to show up as honestly as I can, because that's what I want to promote through here, is just being our honest selves, no matter what that is. Just being able to have a space to come to and lay it out and say, hey, this is me right now. And whatever that is, that's okay. It's a safe space to do that. But I'm really hurting every day. I'm really hurting every day. And some days it's not as bad. Some days I don't wake up consumed in it. Some days I wake up and I think about it, but I'm like, okay. It's not so heavy today. It's not so heavy. And then some days I wake up and it's all I feel, it's all I'm thinking about, it's all I can see. It's just this massive loss and this heartbreak and this hurt, this longing, this like hole in my heart. I feel so wounded. But I think maybe that's perhaps the things that I do, my job, saying good morning to my coworkers, serving the customers, being here with all of you. It's all a means of mending the hurt. That's not all it is. I do genuinely enjoy my job. I like being good to people. Even if it is just fast food and customer service. I like knowing that maybe I help someone feel a little bit better about their day by just being kind to them. And I get stressed and overwhelmed in my job. It's customer service. Okay, you understand. I get stressed and overwhelmed, but I think about all of the people that I see every day. And it's like, I have no idea what these people are going through. I have no idea how these people are feeling. Why would I have a bad attitude with them? Why would I have a negative impact on them when I could simply just smile and be kind? Even if it's as simple as please and thank you and you're welcome, with a smile on my face, with a kind voice. Sometimes just that little bit is enough to make someone feel a little better about their day. Because I've certainly have instances where I've met strangers, especially in like customer service settings. It's like when I go to restaurants or when I go through the drive-thru, when I go shopping. It makes a difference when the person who's serving me is kind to me, even in just the small ways, even if it's just for a brief moment, a thank you, a smile. It can really make a difference. So I try to be that as often as I can at my job. And then, of course, with my coworkers, we're just like a little family at this point. We're a little family. It's my work fam. And it's a privilege to work alongside people who I feel like most of them are doing the same thing I'm doing. And maybe not. But I can tell that most of them are doing their best, doing what they can, and just making the best of what they have in that moment. Because none of us want to be there. None of us want to be at our jobs. But we make the best of it. And that's what makes it feel good, is I have other people around me that are seemingly doing the same thing I'm doing. In their own way, with whatever they have on their minds and on their plates for the day, whatever they're going through. It's like we're all just there making the best of it. And some days that's all I can do, is go to my job, say good morning to my coworkers, try and be as kind and polite as I can to the strangers that come through. Sometimes that's all I do. Sometimes that's all I can do. And then I may still have this heaviness, and I may still be hurting, but I'm making the best of it. And that's kind of the gist of you can smile and laugh, or I'm sorry, you can laugh and cry in the same day. That even amidst the difficult feelings you may have, you can make the best of it. Whatever that means for that day. We do what we can with what we're carrying, with the heaviness that we feel, with the feelings that consume us sometimes. We just make the best of it. So I'm really grateful for these seemingly normal things that I have going on in my life. My job, my podcast, the support group, the strangers I meet, the neighbors that I have, the beautiful people that I have in my life. It's all just kind of like, when I look at it, it's just, I know I keep reiterating this, like, I keep reiterating that it's normal, but it is, right? I feel like the majority of us have a job and neighbors and friends, but it all feels so significant, especially in these tougher, darker moments. It's very significant. And that's not to say that it's not significant otherwise. It is. These seemingly normal things aren't so normal to me. They are what get me through. So I'm very grateful for all of it. Ugh. Talking about it, I just buzz a little bit talking about it. I have this feeling that like swells up in me sometimes of just how crazy it seems that I can feel. I can feel so hurt and so empty, but so full at the same time. There's all of these feelings of opposites that happen so often for me. Just, I'm heavy, but I'm light. I'm consumed, but I'm free. I'm hurt, but I'm grateful. Yeah. I think that's all I've got for tonight. I'm proud of myself for being here. Proud of myself. Gold star for Ellie. And for Dorothy. Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of The Bedside Table. I am so happy you're here. This podcast has become, for me at least, a very special space. And I do always feel better after being here and talking things out and talking to all of you. So I appreciate you listening. And I appreciate you being here with me. So go smile at a stranger today. Go smile at a stranger today. Go say good morning to your family, your friends, your coworkers, your pet. Especially if you're feeling a little heavy. Go serve someone. Go do a little good. It might just make you feel a little better. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one. Good night.